The, yeah, now it works. Good morning, everyone. Excellencies, innovators, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and I'm very pleased to join you today at Innovation Zero here in London. And it's a beautiful day. It's a sunny, not very windy day, but it's very important to have this discussion on energy transition and climate with you today. The Kingdom of Morocco, as you know, is really committed to join forces with the international community to meeting the challenges of the 21st century by doing two things. First, consolidating the governance of the energy transition for sustainable development, and by improving the management of our natural capital. Our roadmap is very simple. We want to accelerate renewables to decarbonize the economy and decarbonize it sustainably. And we want to build an agile and resilient energy system. So our target, as we've already mentioned, is to increase the installed capacity of renewables to 52% before 2030, but more importantly, to build a more resilient energy system. And I would say that we will reach this 52% because the more painful was to reach the first 40%. So I'm here today to show you what is possible. I'm not here today to exclude fuels. I'm not here today to exclude technologies. I'm not here today to exclude projects from our development journey. For 2030, we have 8 gigawatts of solar and wind that is in the process of being planned or developed. And that excludes additional projects and development in the green hydrogen and ammonia and in desalination plants. This calls for an additional capacity of between 700 megawatts to 1 gigawatt to be installed and built annually, consistently, between now and 2030. That means an investment of roughly $1 billion in our system to be invested consistently every year between now and 2030. And as I mentioned, it excludes additional areas like green hydrogen and ammonia and desalination. We have a low carbon development strategy for 2050 and our new development model, which aims to get Morocco out of the middle income trap of 3% GDP growth rates to 6% GDP growth rates. Why? Because a large part of our population is young, craving jobs, craving dignity, and craving access to modern forms of energy and better standards of living. Decarbonization, of course, is a key part of this agenda. We have enabled the improvement of Morocco's global competitiveness. We were among the first countries to update our NDC with a new ambition of 45% of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. We are confirming again our commitment to 1.5 degree scenario, and we have 61 projects to date covering 7 economic sectors being planned to implement this goal. If I focus on the industrial sector, we want to improve the competitiveness of our sector because, mind you, Europe is our main trading partner, and we don't want to wait for carbon border adjustment mechanisms to decarbonize our industrial sector. So what we're doing, we've already launched a program to provide all our industrial zones with access to low-cost, low-carbon energy from renewable sources. Our national strategy for sustainable development, we are redesigning it, we are reviewing it to ensure a green and inclusive and just transition to sustainable development by 2030. How do we do it? In a very inclusive way, in a very democratic way. We do it through a participatory approach in regional consultations and on the internet as well, because we have more than 5 million people, 5 million Moroccans living outside of Morocco, for which we want to give the voice to have a say in the future of their country and the sustainable development path of their country. So we are making regional developments in our regions with their diverse development path holistic, just, and sustainable. It's not only a response to climate crisis, it's really a mean and it's in our DNA to reintroduce humanity and foresight into our public policies by placing humans at the center of the system. Of course, as you know, we are playing a major role in attracting private investments and boosting climate finance. We are reinforcing transparency in this sector. We are mobilizing funds from the private sector, international and national, and the MDVs. We are structuring projects to make them more bankable, economically viable, and capable of facilitating cost reductions, including in emerging technologies and fuels like ammonia, hydrogen, batteries, storage, grid management, etc. A couple of words on our legal framework. Since we want our energy system to be agile and resilient, we think our legal framework and regulatory framework should also be agile and resilient. So we are redefining the governance of the sector with a comprehensive reform looking into market design, the role of our utility companies, the legal frameworks to enable and simplifying procedures to enable more private sector involvement in this sustainable development journey. For the first time, we will have certificates of origin, hopefully this year, so that any industrial or any consumer, energy consumer, can provide its green certificate to legitimize that his product or her product is green. So our commitment to energy transition extends beyond reducing dependence on external energy sources. It really encompasses reducing energy costs by building the economies of scale that needs to be built and ensuring energy security. The role of the financial community and the insurance community is critical there. What we've seen today, and you can view Morocco as an open lab, with our 20 years of experience in financing, developing, and executing renewable projects, what we are noticing today is that developers are reluctant to take climate risk in those projects, in those renewable projects that are meant to mitigate climate change. So for example, in hydro plants, in CSP plants, in solar panel projects, we are noticing today that the financial community and the insurance community is not equipped yet to manage climate risks. Who can tell you today how your solar farm or wind farm is going to behave in 20 years' time with the changing seasonal patterns and all the rest? So this is a call, since we are in London, to the financial community and the insurance community to equip the policymakers and the developers with the means to take and manage climate risk. One last word on regional integrations. That's the third pillar of our energy strategy. And we're taking electricity, natural gas, carbon markets quite seriously. We're already working with the EU on a green partnership. Actually, we were the very first country to sign a Green Deal with our European colleagues, and we need to increase the connectivity between markets, electricity markets, gas markets, but also carbon markets to ensure that mutual dependence. Because as a former diplomat told me once, with mutual dependence comes a lot of empowerment. And Morocco signed also in Sharm el-Sheikh at the COP27 a sustainable electricity trade roadmap with 5 European countries, Spain, Portugal, France, and Germany. So I'd like to just finish by talking about cooperation. Energy transition takes time, and Morocco is the best example of that. You can view us as the land of the possibles, especially after the latest World Cup, Soccer World Cup. We are also the land of the possibles when it comes to energy transition. Energy transition might require $250 trillion of investments over 30 years. In Africa alone, we still have 600 million people without access to electricity or any other modern forms of energy. Closing this infrastructure gap would require 100 billion of investment per year, consistently. So it's our role as political leaders to ensure that we are closing the gap between available funds and future projects that need those funds and channel those funds where they are needed. It's the role of the financial community, the investors, the insurers, and the innovators to show us how we can manage climate risk. We are actually a country with, of course, a strategic position between Europe, Africa, and the Atlantic Basin to ensure that genuine opportunities of investments are there to enhance everyone's energy security. And we are fully cognizant of the importance of accelerating the execution of sustainable energy transition goals. So to achieve this, we are very happy to be with like-minded allies and partners who share our views and determination. So cooperation and collaboration consistently every year between now and 2030 is what will be required. And this is the cornerstones of our collective efforts to build a better future for this generation and the generations to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Leila. Next, we welcome to the stage Ian Meikle, Director of Clean Growth and Infrastructure at Innovate UK. It's the UK's national innovation agency supporting business-led innovation in all sectors, technologies and UK regions. Ian leads Innovate UK's energy, transport systems and future cities programmes, working to support our shift to a net zero economy. So please give a warm welcome to Ian Meikle. Hi, welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Leila. Clearly a global opportunity for us all. Innovate UK is delighted to support this net zero focused event. And many thanks to everyone who has created such a wonderful occasion to bring us together. It's great to be together because we're all here with one aim, one goal, one ambition. As a country, as a planet, we need to reach net zero. And to remember, it's a race against time, not against each other. Ultimately, we all win together or we all lose together. We know there are no silver bullets. Success will only be by pulling together. Net zero isn't going to be easy, and doing more of the same ain't going to do it. It will require an abundance of solutions. That means we must change the way we do things. We must innovate. And we must innovate with urgency, because the parts per million clock is ticking. However, with innovation and change comes opportunity. At Innovate UK, our vision is for the UK to become the fastest transitioning economy to net zero. In fact, to prosper from being the fastest transitioning economy to net zero. And by prospering, I mean creating net zero products and services, green jobs, sustainable growth, and exports to help other countries reach net zero too. We all need to play our part. It's only through the work of innovators and enablers like you that we can change the world together. Innovate UK exists to build the future economy in towns, cities, and regions up and down the country by inspiring, involving, and investing in business innovation. And I'll come back to those three words towards the end. We also partner with other countries to share knowledge and stimulate trade, with a vision for the UK to become a global hub for innovation by 2035. Please look at the Innovate UK Plan for Action for further details, and reach out to the KTN to connect with other partners, Catapults with facilities and expertise to develop your technologies, and Innovate UK Edge to help scale your business from early stage to commercialization. And let's not forget, globally, nearly 3 billion people don't have access to clean cooking facilities. And nearly another billion don't have access to electricity. If working with in-country partners inspires you, please look at our Energy Catalyst program, which supports clean, affordable energy in Africa, South Asia, and the Indo-Pacific. And round 10 funding is currently open. In summary, we're here to build on our scientific strengths and remove barriers to accelerate business-led innovation, to grow a bigger, more productive, data-driven economy that is net zero, with higher levels of health and well-being, with access to opportunities for all. We've made a good start, and we're already having a positive impact. Between 2015 and 2020, nearly 6,000 companies have received net zero related grants from us worth £1.9 billion. More importantly, that £1.9 billion catalysed £4.8 billion of private investment and created 67,000 new jobs. We continually shape what we do at Innovate UK by working with government, businesses, and towns and cities and regions up and down the country. From the government's Net Zero Research and Innovation Framework, the 6th Carbon Budget, all the way through to Chris Skidmore's Mission Zero Review. The areas where we need to act are clear. We've deeply embedded this thinking into the heart of what we do, so we can achieve a just transition for all. Our key net zero focused areas are, firstly, heat. Heating and cooling our buildings counts for 23% of our emissions. We need to reduce the emissions and, frankly, the costs. This is actually a race to renovate, because we need to significantly improve many of the 30 million buildings that already exist. Power. We need to transform our power systems while securing our energy future in a way that is sustainable and, again, affordable. Make and use. Earlier this year, we published our materials and manufacturing vision for 2050, looking at how we make and use net zero things in net zero ways. In mobility, we're in the process of refreshing our transport vision for 2050, looking at how we will move people, goods and services, and the steps to get there. And in agriculture and food, making farming more productive and sustainable whilst reducing runoffs, emissions and food wastes is fundamental to achieving our climate neutral goals. These things are, of course, intrinsically linked and have two key things in common: systems thinking and how we scale up to net zero. We need a step change in the mobilization of capital towards the delivery of net zero solutions. We're working to make the opportunity visible and compelling to the finance community, showcasing how investors can prosper from the transition to net zero. Innovation may get us a prototype and a first of a kind, but we need to roll out solutions at scale in the tens, the hundreds, and the thousands. To support this scale up, we are delivering the Strategic Innovation Fund on behalf of Ofgem to prove new technologies at grid scale within our gas and electricity networks. Round 3 funding launched yesterday, so if you'd like to integrate your solutions within the grid of the future, please take a look, and colleagues are talking specifically on that over the coming day or two. From a systems perspective, it's all about how all this fits together and stimulating demand. It can't just be about supply-side technology push. That's why we have the Net Zero Living programme to transform our towns, cities and communities by removing the barriers to adoption and creating demand for new net zero technologies. Through our Fast Followers programme, we're working with 21 local authorities across the UK, from Derry to Devon and Warrington to Westminster. 6 million funding at grassroots level is going to help these areas, some urban, some rural, to accelerate innovation, all with one aim: achieving net zero. These projects are all designed to overcome non-technical barriers like citizen engagement, procurement, and to attract finance. For example, Blackpool has set a challenge to be net zero by 2030. And to get there, they're putting businesses at the heart of their solution. They will use locally located, renewable-powered data centres to underpin a new innovation economy. And waste heat from these data centres will feed a new heat network, providing low-carbon heat to homes and businesses across the town. So not only will this reduce carbon emissions, it will also attract investment and generate jobs and skills. Another example is in the Outer Hebrides, generating renewable energy to be supplied directly to local communities at reduced costs, alleviating fuel poverty and reducing expensive energy imports from the UK mainland. The funding will help create the necessary market mechanisms to realise this ambition. There are details of all the other 21 Net Zero Living projects on our website. Best of luck to you all in embedding net zero within our daily lives. Finally, I want to briefly touch on those 3 words that are the foundation of our work at Innovate UK: inspire, involve and invest. To inspire by making the net zero opportunity visible and compelling, being creative in our thinking, whether we are innovators or enablers. To involve the relevant people and organisations to solve the big challenges that we face, so that together we can achieve net zero. And to invest by convening the resources needed to create the UK global hub of innovation, which includes making a compelling case for a significant shift in the mobilisation of capital. We have the same goal: working in partnership to create the future that we all want to see, a future of good health, prosperity, respect for our planet's environment, and a future of fairness, diversity, and equality. I hope this event inspires you to work together, to innovate, and for the UK to prosper from being the fastest transitioning economy to net zero, and in providing leadership and support to other countries in reaching net zero too. Thank you and enjoy.